Hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube video lecture series of the subject Basic Electrical Engineering. In this video lecture series, we have started one chapter that is transformer. And in today's video, our topic to discussion is ideal and practical transformer. Ideal transformer is actually not available in practical daily to daily life because ideal transformer is just a concept to easily understand the practical transformer. So let's begin with the ideal and practical transformer. So first of all, ideal transformer. So ideal transformer must have some characteristics, and that characteristics we will discuss one by one. So the first characteristics is zero leakage flux. We have seen that transformer is having one core and on its two leaves we are winding two windings. So first winding which is connected with the source is known as the primary winding and second another winding is known as the secondary winding. So basically production of flux will be started at primary side only and that flux will link with the secondary side. And between this process some amount of flux is always wasted which is known as the leakage flux. But in ideal transformer, we are assuming that no leakage flux is there. So that means the flux produced or the generated by the primary winding is 100% linking with the secondary winding. Second important characteristics to discuss is the windings have no resistance. Winding is made up of a copper wire, and we know that copper wire is having some and some resistance. But here we are assuming that there is no resistance available in both the windings. So that's why it is known as an ideal transformer. Next, third characteristics is the core has infinite permeability. We know that permeability means it is the ability of any magnetic material for the generation of magnetic flux. So here we are assuming that our magnetic material is so strong that it produces the maximum amount of magnetic flux through it. There is no losses in that magnetic core. So the third topic is the core has infinite permeability. Fourth topic is the lossless magnetic core. So that means, as I have discussed you, in core there are two type of losses: hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. But here we are assuming that there is no losses occurs in core of a transformer. So this was the characteristics of any ideal transformer. Now let's see ideal transformer is connected with if no load, then how it behaves. How much current can flow through that ideal transformer. So to understand this, we are considering this diagram. Please check this diagram. In this diagram, we have just taken one core type of transformer, and this is the ideal type of transformer. In this core, one link we have mounted one winding, and that is the primary winding. And here we have mounted another winding, that is the secondary. V1 is the applied primary voltage to our transformer and V2 is the output voltage at secondary. Now, due to this V volt, some amount of current will start flowing through the primary winding and phi is the flux produced by this primary winding. Now, in this magnetic path, the amount of flux that is produced by the primary winding is linking with the secondary winding in this magnetic path. And if this flux is alternating in nature, then we can say that the EMF will induced in both the winding. And EMF induced in the secondary winding is depending upon the number of turns that you have taken. If number of turns is less than the primary winding, then it will be stepped down. Number of turns is greater than the primary winding, then it will be stepped up. Now you can see this diagram. In this diagram, we have drawn one waveform of time versus current, or you can say angle versus current. So first of all, we will start drawing the waveform of the quantities in which we have applied first. So we have applied first V1 voltage to the primary winding. So this V1 is taken as a base, and you can see that from 0 to 2 pi we have drawn the waveform of V1 voltage. So V1 voltage is taken as a reference. Now the EMF induced in both the windings will be in opposite direction to the applied voltage because of the Lenz's law. Because Lenz states that EMF induced in any coil will always oppose the cause behind production of that EMF. So you can see here, this is one waveform of E1 and another waveform of E2. So E1 and E2 are just opposite to the applied voltage, and that is nothing but the E1 E2 is just 180 degree apart from each other. So if V1 is started at 0, then we can say that E1 and E2 both has been started at 180 degree. And whenever the V1 is in positive, then E1 E2 will be negative, and whenever E1 E2 is in positive, V1 is in negative. Now let's talk about the current flowing through this primary winding. Then we know that the transformer core is having the iron particles, and we have wound one coil over it. So this basically behaves like an inductor. And in case of pure inductor, because we have neglected the internal resistance of a winding, so in case of a pure inductor, current flowing through winding always lags behind the coil. So if V1 is started at 0 degree, then the current will start at 90 degree behind the V1. So you can see here the current is started at 90 degree and completed at 360 plus 90 degree. So now let's draw the phasor diagram. So to draw the phasor diagram, first of all you need to draw the reference axis. From this reference axis, if you are taking current on the reference axis, then current is drawn here, and you can see that 90 degree above this current line you have to draw the voltage. Why we have drawn voltage line here? Because voltage is 90 degree leading from the current. If you draw voltage line first, then you have to draw the current line after downside that voltage. So there are 90 degree phase difference between voltage and current. Now let's talk about the EMF. So we have seen that the EMF induced in both the windings are opposite phase to the applied voltage. So if 180 degree apart from the applied voltage, so if V1 is drawn here, then even E2 will be drawn opposite to that side. So even E2 will be drawn on the downside. So this was all about the ideal transformer at no load condition. Now let's see the practical transformer. So to understand the practical transformer, you need to consider some equations. But before considering that equation, let's understand the vector diagram of the practical transformer. Now we have drawn the V1 voltage over here. You can see V1 voltage here. We have drawn one current on the reference axis, that is I, which is 90 degree apart from this. We have drawn E1 E2 here, which is 90 degree phase shifted by the voltage V1. Now in case of practical transformer, here our no load current is drawn on the same line here. But now our no load current has to fulfill both the roles. It has to produce the magnetic flux in the core, as well as it has to nullify the losses in the core, because now our core is having some resistance. Now our core is having some iron losses. So to fulfill that losses, the current should be taken from the supply. So now our current is not only the no load current that is in phase, but it has another component which is known as the IW component. So there will be two component of current, and if we join these two components, then you get the no load current of practical transformer. So basically in ideal transformer there is only magnetizing current flowing in the primary winding. Magnetizing current flows to produce the magnetic flux on. And here the production of magnetic flux will be there, but also there will be the loss component. So if you add this to current, then you get the no load. So you can say that the one component which is in phase with the voltage, this is known as the active or the working or the iron loss component IW, because it mainly supplies the iron loss plus the small quantity of the copper, because we have not connected any load. So secondary current is zero. If secondary current is zero, then we can say that no losses will occur in secondary side. So basically it is the loss component of a transformer. So this IW component, which is in phase with voltage, is given by this formula. If our final total no load current is I0, and if it is making phi degree or theta degree with this voltage V1, then you can say that this component is the cos component of our no load current. So I0 cos phi 0 is nothing but the no load or the loss component of our transformer, practical transformer. Now let's talk about the other component, which is 90 degree apart from this loss component. and this is known as the magnetizing component of transformer. This already we have discussed. The magnetizing current will be apart 90 degree from the voltage. So this is just similar to the ideal transformer. But if you want to write down the equation of this magnetizing current I mu, then it is given by the formula I0 sine phi 0, because it is the sine component of this current. So now we got two currents in practical transformer at no load condition as IW is equals to I0 cos phi 0 and I mu is equals to I0 sine phi 0. So if you want to find the no load current at practical transformer, then you have to vectorly add these two currents. So I0 is basically equals to IW square plus I mu square. So this is nothing but the formula for to finding the no load current. This is vector addition. So now let's see practical transformer on load condition. What if we connect load to the practical transformer? So let's consider this diagram. In this diagram, we have taken one more type of transformer. This is a practical transformer. So there will be the copper loss, there will be the iron loss, there will be the leakage flux. Everything will happen this practical transformer. Let's talk about this diagram. In this diagram, we have taken one primary winding here, we have taken one secondary winding here. Applied voltage to primary winding is V1 and applied voltage to the means output voltage of the secondary winding is V2. And phi is the flux flowing in this diagram. Now, if we consider this second diagram, so you can see that here we have not connected any load, so the current is no load current only. But if we connect load here, then some amount of current will start flowing in the secondary side also. So this was two cases. Now let's consider the third case. If some amount of current will start flowing through the secondary side, and if that current is alternating in nature, then secondary side will start establishing its own magnetic flux, which is in opposite direction to the main flux. So that means the flux produced by the secondary winding due to the load connection is known as the demagnetizing flux, because this flux is actually cancelling the effect of main flux. So it will flow in the opposite direction to the main. So to nullify this effect, we have to provide extra current at the primary side, or you can say that primary winding will take extra current from the source. So we can say that now no load current is having three components. It is known as the primary current I1 and it is having three components. First component is to produce the magnetic flux, second component to nullify the losses, and third component is the component which is demagnetizing flux. To nullify this demagnetizing flux, current should be taken from the source in the loaded condition. So this was the practical transformer on loaded condition, and here we can say that our primary winding current is having three components. So let's talk about the practical transformer at loaded condition, and on this load let's draw the vector diagram. So again you can see this vector diagram of this practical transformer. In this practical transformer, here it is a primary winding, here it is a secondary winding. We have wounded one load here. V1 V2 are the voltages of primary and secondary respectively. I1 is the current flowing through the primary winding, N1 is the number of turns, N2 is the number of turns of secondary winding, and here you can see that there is three fluxes. First flux was our main flux phi 0, which was flowing from primary to secondary. Second flux phi 2, which is produced by the I2 current, which is in opposite direction to the main flux. So the phi 2 dash flux is extra flux produced by the extra current which we have taken from the source. So here basically, and that flux will be in phase with the main flux. So ultimately that will cancel out each other. So now let's talk about the vector diagram. So if we have drawn the applied voltage here, then E1 and E2 will be on the same side. If the load is having some problem. So if V is drawn here, then there are three components of current. First component is the magnetizing component and another component is the loss component. And if we combine the two components, then it is known as the no load current. So we have directly drawn this no load current here. So this no load current is phi 0 lagging from the applied voltage. Now let's talk about the EMFs. So you can see that the EMF of the primary and the secondary winding will be on the 180-degree phase shifted here. So we can draw E1 and E2 on the 180-degree phase shift here. Now the current in the secondary winding is depending upon the nature of load. If we are assuming that the nature of load is inductive, then you can say that at phi 2 degree current I2 will be drawn here because it is behind E2. And if I2 is drawn here, then the current which is flown in the primary side due to this I2 current is I2 dash. So that I2 dash current will be drawn here 180 degree apart from I2. So this current is I2. So now we have two currents, that is I0 no load current, and this extra current is I2 dash. If we join this two current by vector diagram or the parallelogram method, then you get the final current I1 of the practical transformer under loaded condition. And this current is also lags behind the voltage by phi 1 degree. So this was all about the practical transformer on loaded condition. And in this video, you have seen the ideal transformer, the practical transformer on no load, and the practical transformer on loaded condition. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned.